You are at the Parent Wrap on the Daily Kennedy. I'm really excited to be here today with these two lovely, two smart, and two mindful women. We have Stacey Turis from Brain Gangster.
What's up?
And we have Kaitlin Robinson from Ask Kaitlin.
Hello.
And Caitlin's here today to share with us her experience because you're
I'm a spiritual psychotherapist or a marriage and family therapist, and I've spent years working with children, teens, adolescents, as well as adults, but one of the most important things about my practice is I do bring an element of mindfulness and spirituality to it.
Yeah, I love that. I had an opportunity to speak with Kaitlin after a meeting one day about mindfulness and my kids. You had a lot of really good advice, and you actually put this into your practice a lot.
I do. One of the techniques, if I may share really quickly, is when you have a toddler especially who is overwhelmed or who is really dysregulated, is I have them sit down in front of me and I have them imagine a big white puffy cloud right in front of their face. So I have them take a deep breath in, bring the cloud close to them, and then like exaggerate the blowing out of the cloud. So they have this really cute cartoon visualization of a cloud. They don't realize that they're re-regulating their central nervous system. They're getting their heartbeat to lower. They're getting everything re-regulated.
Now your kids are, how old, Stacey?
11 and almost 14.
So that's a whole other
That's a whole other wow. So what I used to have to do, because with ADHD, it's hard to regulate your emotions, your feelings, the input and stuff like that. And so I would use with my kids brain games, which is every night. I would have them go through and start at their toes and tighten every muscle. And they also learn the names of all of the proper names of the muscles.
I don't know them.
And then tighten it all at once and then release it. And then that was kind of their cue to go to sleep.
What do you notice is the result of getting kids to meditate?
Getting kids to meditate, the results are pretty profound and fairly instantaneous. I mean, when you can get a kid to, even if they're not dysregulated, even if they're already quiet, you notice that their concentration increases, their levels of ADHD decrease, their ability to just be in the moment, so they're not so frenetic.
Meditating for children is something that may seem like it's something to do if you have the luxury of being able to spend that amount of time with your kids, or maybe something that's upper echelon. I do know that there have been other studies that are about the impact of mindfulness and meditation on kids living in poverty, kids who are in, like my kids, are in the foster care system.
In my practice I've worked with underprivileged children in low socioeconomic standing and low income families, and I find that they're more open and receptive. I feel like they are really open to having new tools and really hungry to learn new things and new ways of being, and they're curious. So I've had really profound effects in dealing with anything from eating disorders to mood disorders.
The thing about the little kids that's just so different is with the little kids, it's all physical action, running after them, doing all of that stuff. But with the teenagers, it's so much more now emotional support. And so what I have figured out is that starting off early gives them such a higher advantage and platform to be able to deal with what they're dealing with in these ages.
You're building resilience with these children so that by the time they're adults, they have the ability to communicate with their feelings and contain it so that their life doesn't spiral off into chaos.
No, because what they learn is how to regulate it in real time.
We may not be able to change what's happening in school with our child today, but we can make a bigger impact in the future. So at home, we have a responsibility to start to instill this in our kids.
I think the biggest barrier is just getting past the whole meditation is woo-woo thing. When people are not educated about it and they just think that you're sitting, like imagine what meditation looks like though. Like people are like, I'm so busy and then I'm just supposed to sit there and they're not educated about it. So we need to get past the whole it's woo-woo, it's whatever, and just talk about the physiological aspects of meditation that will do all of these things, like making room in your brain. You can sit there and sort of let the puzzle pieces fall in together.
I kind of talk about this on one of the Meditation for Assholes meditations that I do also here in the Daily Kennedy. And it is that, if I know that I'm trying to figure it out, then that's my kind of red flag that I'm taking control over again.
Can I interrupt you?
Sure.
Figure what out? What is that?
It could be whatever, right? So have you ever said to yourself, I just really need to figure this out? To me, that is a clue that is, okay, you don't need to figure it out, you need to let it be revealed.
Right.
And so then I try to go into, if I catch it in time, I go into a mindful space, I meditate via meditation, and I really like to let the answers come. And,
Yes.
and I find myself sometimes being very quiet, and people will get a little angry with that.
That's what's happened.
You don't know how to respond.
Yeah. Well, responses, we would love to hear your responses. We'd love to hear how you are meditating with your kids, whether they be toddlers or teens. If you have any questions, I would love you guys to both follow Ask Kaitlin and braingangster.com. Thank you for checking out the Parent Wrap here on the Daily Kennedy, and that's a wrap.